Okay, we are live and ready for today's Conjure Live, episode 4, Restlessness. Before we begin, I'll encourage you to light a candle, or you can even visualize a candle. It doesn't have to actually be a candle. You can visualize a candle, just close your eyes, visualize a candle lit all around you, and that light is sending a message to our ancestors saying, Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We're happy that you are here. We are welcoming you into this space. And I'd like to begin by inviting the ancestors into this space as well. We want to invite the ancestors of pure love, wisdom, and the right relationship. Ancestors who walked before us, ancestors who are walking with us, ancestors who carry the medicine that's in our blood and bones, and those who remember why we are here now and are ready to guide us. We welcome those ancestors into this space, and we ask them to open our hearts, minds to the information that is being shared today, and what is relevant for you, take it and use it, and what isn't, it's okay, it's for somebody else. I also want to invite our spirit guides and our angels. Very important that we invite them as well because they offer clarity and guidance and protection to us. And they come with the truth, the information that we need about our soul's purpose. And they are the allies that support us when we are in need of some additional guidance and help. And I just want to say that we are welcoming only the most aligned and supportive ancestors, spirit guides, and angels, the ones who are highly evolved, loving, and have ascended. And may their wisdom just gently rise up inside of us and help us and guide us. This is not a space for us to rush today. This is a space for us to just be calm. So just take a moment to close your eyes and just invite into your space the ancestors, whether they're your blood relatives or people that you just admired. It could be someone who wrote a book, it could be a friend, it could be someone in history that you just think were amazing and accomplished amazing things. Invite them in, invite them in, invite them into our space today. Last week on Conjure Live, I talked to you about the Conjure Blueprint and what it includes, and I wanted to just quickly go over that again before we go into the next phase, because what I'll say is this all relates. Everything relates to each other. And today is just part one of the restlessness and how things start to evolve inside of us that lead us into our second act. But first, Conjure Blueprint. The first thing in your Conjure Blueprint is your ancestral medicine, probably one of the most important pieces of your Conjure Blueprint, because these are the unique gifts you inherited and naturally move through you and are ready to be expressed. And sometimes that doesn't happen earlier in life. Sometimes it takes us growing, learning, evolving in order for us to really begin to remember that those gifts were already there. Your Conjure Blueprint also includes your wisdom keepers and the counsel that guides you. When we sit down and do your blueprint, we really dive into who are the ancestors right now, because there are ancestors that guide us in different seasons of our lives. Who are the ancestors right now that are ready to guide you, support you, and help you into your next step? And then number 3, ancestral story healing. We can't go without the ancestral story healing. Although there are more ancestors that are healthy, heal, and whole, there are some that may still need some support with healing so that your ancestral medicine can naturally flow through you. And sometimes there may be some stories, patterns, wounds, belief systems that are preventing that medicine from flowing as naturally as it can. So we always have to add in some ancestral story healing where needed. Number 4 in your Conjure Blueprint, who you are called to help. We all have people that we are here to support, serve, guide, offer our wisdom to, that need the gifts that are running through you. They need your ancestral medicine. And sometimes we're unclear about who are these people. Sometimes you naturally know, but sometimes you really don't. And you need some clarity, you need more guidance on that. And that's a part of what's included in your Conjure Blueprint. And then number 5 is your unique way and method. This is a part that I absolutely love because I love supporting people with seeing what it is that they're here to create. What is the unique healing system? Maybe you've taken a number of healing courses and have learned several modalities, but none of them feels quite right as the one for you to really, really dive into. Well, your ancestral medicine says, take all of what you've learned and let's create something unique to you. Or for some people, it could be a unique way of showing up in their community. It may be something, a new method of some sort that you create that changes lives in a different way. Your unique method is a part of what helps you step into your second act, really embodying the things that you're feeling guided to, really supporting you with living your soul's purpose. Those are the 5 things that are included in the Conjure Blueprint. And I wanted to be sure that we went over it again, just in case some people missed it. I wanted you to know the Conjure Blueprint doesn't exist as just an idea. It shows up through what I call signals. And sometimes you don't really realize that the Conjure Blueprint is trying to present itself, but there are some signals that show up. One of the most common signals that women experience at this stage is often called restlessness. Now, for some, it may not come across as restlessness. It may come across as lack of direction, no orientation, and feeling of not sure where to go next. But restless isn't really just the loss of orientation that comes up. Restlessness is when you are also feeling like there's something more for you to do here, something more for you to share here, and you're needing some guidance and some support to help you figure out what that is. So I want to slow down just a little bit, because this is the part that many women really kind of misunderstand about what they're experiencing. When I say loss of orientation, I'm not talking about confusion. Confusion is a little bit different. I'm talking about where what has been working is no longer working. That's not confusion. That's really about orientation, direction. For most of your life, your orientation came from something external, external structures. The achievement you were told you needed to, have to experience in order for you to feel like you were on track. Like for some people, you had to get a degree, or you had to rise up in the company, or you needed to make a certain amount of money, or your business needed to be at a certain place, excuse me. That is what helped you to determine whether or not you were on track. Responsibility told you what mattered next, what you were responsible for. Deadlines, roles, expectations, even spiritual practices gave you a sense of direction. And all those structures worked. They weren't wrong. They did exactly what they were supposed to do for that season that you were in. But at some point, often quietly, these structures stop responding. They stop responding to you. That doesn't mean you can't perform. You can still perform, you can still succeed, but the internal signal that once told you yes, that isn't quite there the way it was before. And this is the moment many women think something has gone wrong. They assume they've lost motivation or discipline or focus. They assume that, their things are coming to an end for them in terms of their careers and their lives. This is when sometimes women just kind of sit back and just accept the things that are happening because they just don't believe that there's anything different. But that really isn't what's happening. This isn't a failure of discipline. It's really the shift in authority. a shift in authority. In earlier seasons, authority lived outside of you. As we talked about, the achievements and what other people said was the meaning of success, and other people defining success, and you looking and seeing that in order to operate within the systems that you were in, that you had to achieve certain things. And that's the authority living outside of you. But then in this season, the authority is now relocating inside of you. And when this authority shifts, direction dissolves first. That's why this moment sometimes feels unsettling, because when that direction starts to go inward, you're having to measure where your next steps come from, not from the external authority, but from the internal authority. And for some, that can be very confusing. For some, that can cause, you to feel like something is just not right. Something's out of order. And what happens in this season of your life, you're no longer being organized by urgency. You're not being organized by approval or momentum. But what you're being led to is something that you haven't really learned in the way that you're learning it now. And that is that going within, that connecting with the ancestral guidance, the spirit guide guidance, the spiritual guidance that you've been maybe experiencing a little bit, but now you're wanting to dive in deeper and really experience it from a different level than you've ever experienced it before. And why? Because of that restlessness and that need to experience this guidance. It is a guiding light that oftentimes is coming from the soul. It is the guidance from the ancestors, and the ancestors are speaking to you quietly and gently, saying, go within, remember what's already inside of you. So, restlessness is not a dissatisfaction with life. Dissatisfaction says, I don't like life. That's usually not what women in their second act are saying. That isn't what is happening. Restlessness says, the way I'm oriented no longer fits with where I'm going. You can be deeply grateful for your life and you still may feel this. It doesn't mean that you're not grateful for what is happening in your life. You can love what you've built and it still feels like restlessness. It doesn't mean you're not grateful. It doesn't mean that you're being impatient. It's your body beginning to register that external pressure that is no longer appropriate as your guide for your next chapter. It's no longer the guide for your next chapter. Your guide for your next chapter is coming from a totally different place now. And ancestral cultures actually understood this moment very differently than we do now. In many traditions, when a person reached this threshold, they weren't pushed harder and told that they have to do more. They were repositioned. Elders understood that there came a time when a person's role just changed. It was different, not because they were less capable, but because they had accumulated wisdom. And you have accumulated wisdom on your journey. And now you're being asked to transform that wisdom into something even more powerful. And this is often the moment someone was moved from doing to advising, from striving to stewarding, from carrying tasks to carrying knowledge. That's you. That's you. And there were really rituals for this. There were pauses, there were periods of withdrawal, not because the person was broken, but because something was reorganizing inside of them. And if you're feeling like that reorganization is happening inside of you, it may not be right now about doing more. It may be just stepping back and listening more, recovering. Unfortunately, in our modern culture, we don't have a framework for this period of time. So we try to solve a guidance problem with more effort. We force clarity. We try to discipline ourselves through restlessness. We try to optimize a season that doesn't respond to optimization. That's where exhaustion comes from. So if you're feeling that exhaustion, it could be because you're trying to push through something that doesn't need to be pushed through. And this exhaustion doesn't just come from doing too much, but really from using that wrong authority. And that's where ancestrally rooted guidance comes in. It doesn't come from pressure. It comes from your relationship with your ancestors, relationship with your lineage, relationship with your lived experiences. That relationship is really powerful. When you really tap into the relationship that you have with those experiences that you've had in your life, that's where that wisdom comes from. And that's where the relationship with the wisdom that has been forming in you over time starts to take the lead. And that's where Conjure Blueprint comes in. And that's why I created the Conjure Blueprint, because at one point in my life, I too was at that threshold of my second act, looking, searching, trying to find what it is that I was here to do, pushing through things, defining myself based on external authority. And it wasn't until I went in, it wasn't until I started connecting with my guides, my ancestors, that I really started to see where I needed to position myself, what I needed to do, not from external authority, but from internal guidance, from the guidance that was coming to me from my soul's purpose, from my soul, and from my ancestors and my spirit guides. And that's when things began to shift. And the Conjure Blueprint is born from that experience and from the experiences I've had with many of my clients who were at this threshold as well, looking for what was next. Some of them were retired. Some had lost jobs. That was a big one. Some of them had been laid off. Some of them were just restless, as I said. They were uncomfortable with what was their life in that moment and were really looking for something different, something bigger, something that they valued even more. And that's when I said, you know what? There's actually a blueprint for this. There's a way of really moving through this experience by having this blueprint to guide you through the experience. And the Conjure Blueprint doesn't have rules and strategies and a structure. It's not a map. It's a way to listen without forcing. It's a way to really discern without really rushing things, giving yourself some time. It's a way to let authority settle where it belongs. When ancestrally rooted guidance begins to lead, restlessness starts to soften. That's when you start to feel confident about your next season, your next chapter, your second act. Not because everything becomes clear at once. Sometimes it takes a moment. It's because you stop fighting the transition. You stop looking for the information externally and you stop and start really leading with your own authority. And then orientation returns, but then it returns differently. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it doesn't rush, it guides. So if you're in this moment where what used to guide you no longer works, I want you to hear something very clearly from me. Nothing has gone wrong. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're not losing your edge. You're standing at a shift in authority. And the work now is not to push harder, but to learn how to listen differently. That's what we're doing here is listening differently, listening differently. So if you're in your second act, if you're at that threshold where you feel something new is brewing and coming through, put a 2 in the comments. Let's see who's in their second act. Who's in their second act? And if you are on Facebook, then put a 2 there and I'll come back and take a listen and look and see what you wrote. Okay, so JS says 2. Yeah, so many of us. Bless says 2. many of us are in that second act where we want something different. We want something new. We want something that really comes from the heart and really inspires us. And I can tell you, in my first chapter as a construction management engineer, while I enjoyed many aspects of that career, it did not fulfill me the way my work does now. I wake up in the morning excited and looking forward to the work that I'm doing and to what will unfold that day and whose ancestors are going to share profound messages with me that I can share with my clients. I look forward to that on a daily basis. And that's what going into your second act with your Conjure Blueprint, with your own authority, and with ancestrally rooted guidance, that's what it does. That's what happens. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So if this resonates, I want you to hear this clearly. Like I said, nothing has gone wrong. Nothing is wrong. Your life may be asking you just to listen differently, to listen from within instead of outside of you. And that's the work of the Conjure Blueprint. Orienting your next act through ancestrally rooted guidance rather than force. And I want to just say that if you are interested in learning how your Conjure Blueprint can support you with your second act, feel free to schedule a next steps conversation with me. I'm pasting the link right here. You can schedule a next steps conversation with me and we'll break down how the Conjure Blueprint can help you with where you are right now. So just take a look and see if that is something that will support you. Let's now do a meditation to connect with our ancestors. I always want to close out with us having that deeper connection. So to begin, just close your eyes. And I'm just receiving these messages from the ancestors about where we go on this journey. It's not pre-planned. I'm just tapping into who may be listening to this live. So just take a deep breath and just release. And imagine you're now in a room. Feel yourself in this room that is filled with bright light. It's a healing and soothing light. It's bringing comfort and clarity to you. And just on the other side of the room is a door. And as you walk towards the door, you feel yourself releasing the weight of things that are not serving you now. And with each step, something is released. It may be words, it may be feelings, it may be ideas. They begin to release. And as you reach the other side of the room, the door begins to slowly open. And as the doors open, you look out. It's a beautiful, grassy, green area with lots of trees and flowers. The sky is blue. The sun is out, just warm enough for you to feel comfortable. And a golden path begins to unfold in front of you. And there are two beings, spiritual beings, that welcome you onto this path. And as you step onto the path, they begin to guide you along the path. And on this path, you come to an archway. And there's a big arch, and it says, "Welcome. Welcome to your ancestral village." And these spiritual beings guide you through the gates into the village. And they stay behind and wait to guide you back. And as you enter the village, Two ancestors appear. These are powerful women. They're ancestresses. And they come closer and closer to you and invite you to step into the circle of wise women, the women who lived before you, the women who carried the medicine that you carry in your blood and bones. They're all gathered to initiate you into your medicine. You may not know what it is. You may not be fully aware or conscious of it yet, but this is a step that they're taking with you to help you remember. Remember what is already inside of you. And they invite you into the circle. And as you sit in the circle with them, you feel a sense of peacefulness, knowing that they are part of your wisdom keepers and your counsel. Just feel this moment. And the women place their hand on you, on your shoulders, on your back, on your head. And they're transferring their wisdom, their guidance, their love, their healing into you. Feel this energy just flow through your body. And now, one of the women hands you a gift. This is your gift. This is something that you can hold in your hands, that you can visualize in your mind's eye, and that you may even be able to place on your altar. Receive your gift now. Notice the colors, the size, the shape. Thank your ancestors for inviting you into this moment, for recognizing you as one that can carry this medicine forward. Thank them. And the two ancestresses that welcomed you into the village guide you back to the gates. And when you go back to the gate, you once again thank them for allowing you to visit, knowing that you can come back at any time. And now the spirit guides guide you back along the golden path, back into the room with the beautiful light, back into the present moment, feeling well, alive, at peace, and fully guided and supported on your journey. And just take a deep breath and release. Beautiful. If you received a gift, what was your gift? Pop it in the comments. For those listening live or listening to the replay, what was your gift? What did the ancestors share with you? What did you receive from them? A red cardinal bird. Beautiful. And then, as you're thinking of the gifts that you received, one of the things you may want to do is think about what the meaning is behind that. And if you're not sure what the meaning is behind what you received from your ancestors on this journey, then tonight, when you get ready to go to bed, ask the ancestors to share with you more about what the red cardinal bird means, and see if connecting with them through your dreams ends up being really helpful for you. It is for many people. Beautiful. Anybody else receive anything? Okay. I don't see any more comments in the chat. Maybe everybody's still kind of feeling like they're still on this journey. You can go back and listen to this at any time. I will be sending the replay to Conjure Live 4. I will be sending that out on Thursday, and it will be on YouTube. So you can always check with YouTube. I see that Bless says she's received a blue crystal. Beautiful, beautiful. You'll be able to go to YouTube and see all of the Conjure Lives. So if you've missed any, they're there and you can go back and listen to them. I encourage you to listen to number 3 to learn more about the Conjure Blueprint, previously referred to as a sacred blueprint, but it really is about conjuring this ancestrally rooted medicine that's inside of us and bringing it forward. And the ancestors said, you know, this is really more about conjure than sacred. So Conjure Blueprint is what we're working with. But go in, take a listen, and learn more about the Conjure Blueprint. If you are interested in learning how this can help you with your next steps, then join me for a next step conversation. It's a one-on-one 20-minute conversation, no pressure, just an opportunity for us to see how the Conjure Blueprint can support you. And I'll always give you something that will help you walk away with more guidance than you had before you actually met with me. So if you want to do that, then definitely do it. For those of you joining me live on Zoom, stay around because we'll have after the show conversation where you can ask questions. If you are listening to this on Facebook or the replay on Facebook or the replay on YouTube, if you'd like to join us on Zoom, type Zoom in the comments and I will be sure to you get the link for next week. So next week we'll meet again on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific and 4:30 p.m. Eastern for another Conjure Live 5 with an all new topic. It'll be part 2 of this discussion. You won't want to miss it. Thank you again for being here. Once again, if you're on Zoom, stay with me and we will have a conversation. Just give me a moment.